So I'm just kind of checking things out tonight. Got a new patch bay, got a new set of things to wire up, so I figured I would kind of goof off and play around with Nightverb and Omega 8, because why not, right? So I got wires that are kind of hung up on other wires and all kinds of goofiness, so we'll see what happens. I installed some new lights in my studio, but I need to move the clouds that are above because the clouds are kind of blocking the lights. But I did that on purpose because the last lights were terrible. So anyway, right now I have just some modular drums running. Let me see. I don't know if you guys can see it, but the modular system's back here, and I'm just running a loop from the Oxy sequencer. Is controlling this whole rack back here is all modular drums, and then I have an ER301 running, which is doing something kind of weird. I'm just toying around with samples and how they play back in the 301, so I can do some kind of weird stuff with it. I'll give you a quick example just to kind of let you hear what's happening. So these, the sounds that I have in here, I'm just going to kind of scroll through like a random sound. And then what I'm going to let happen is the pitch of the second sequencer, the Fluxus 1 here, is going to be modulating that sample around a bit.
Whatever you're reaching for better be a sandwich, because you're going to have to eat it. Whatever you're reaching for better be a sandwich, because you're gonna have. Whatever you're reaching for better be a sandwich, because you're gonna have to eat it. Whatever you're reaching for better be a sandwich, because you're gonna have to eat it. Whatever you're reaching for better be a sandwich. Whatever you're reaching for better be a sandwich, because whatever you're reaching for better be a sandwich, because you're gonna have to eat it. Whatever you're reaching for be a sandwich, because you're gonna have to eat it. Whatever you're reaching for better be a sandwich, because you're gonna. Whatever you're reaching for better be a sandwich, because you're gonna. Whatever you're reaching for better be a sandwich, because you're gonna. Whatever you're reaching for better be a sandwich, because you're gonna eat it.
So just goofing off with that kind of stuff. What up, Daydream? So yeah, I've got essentially the ER301 is taking a sample and then giving me in real time pitch ability, both on a fader that I put on the Sweet 16, but also through a sequencer, which I then have going through an attenuator, a digital attenuator, so that I can then modulate the pitch sequence that comes after that. And then I can kind of rearrange the buffer a little bit, and I have a Doppler effect delay kind of going along with that. But point being is I'm goofing off with the Nightverb here. So if I wanted to send that over to the Nightverb right now, I should just be able to bring this in. And you should be able to hear the reverb now. I made a bunch of presets on this the other day, just kind of getting to know it. Yeah, so now I can kind of play with this a bit. And when you start messing with the feedback and the size on this thing, it starts to bloom out and get really really interesting. and dry, you get. And I like kind of blending in some synths with it, so I'll bring in the Omega 8. We can drop this back. Bring it back to here. So again, I'm just kind of testing some things. I'm rewiring the studio and trying out different workflows. Pause that for a minute here while I'm goofing off. So I'm basically testing out a bunch of different routings, and so I'm getting extra drive from the analog heat, but no other effects on it. Just the Nightverb. It's not gaining through proper. So yeah, I'm driving with the heat. I tend to use it really sparingly. I tend to use just either the clean boost, maybe sometimes a saturation or enhance. I don't often go super deep into the high gain and round fuzz and all that. Just because I like to, I kind of use it just to like boost the Omega 8 a little bit into some saturation area without going into like high distortion and whatnot, because I don't know, like Studio Electronics has a fuzz circuit that you can put into it, but in my opinion that it's a little bit heavy-handed. I'd rather go with something a little bit more subtle. So let's bring this thing down. Alright, so I'm just kind of checking to see if I'm hearing everything correctly here. Seems like it's a little low. We can bring that up. And I'm controlling it with the Hydrosynth, where I've set some macros up, as well as the aftertouch. Now I have found a kind of workaround to get the Omega 8 to respond to polyphonic aftertouch. But if I'm honest, the setup is a bit of a pain in the butt. You have to kind of set it up with MPE and essentially use the multi setup, so you're using 8 monotimbral mono aftertouch patches in one, and then you send it MPE, and then you limit the MPE channels to 8, and then you can get polyphonic aftertouch by sending it MPE mono aftertouch per key, and it works. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, let me just show you some things. I also did an entire patch bank of sounds for the Omega 8 that I'm still kind of just refining, but they're fun. Lots of weird stuff, as well as kind of more. I'll give you a taste of it dry. And just let me know if it's clipping or if there's audio issues, because I can't monitor it. It's pretty fun. Definitely sounds huge in here. I don't know how it comes through in the mix out to the tubes of view. I love these reverbs where it just kind of like rings out and does its own thing. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Some of that cross mod on the Omega 8. Yeah, Omega 8's dope. I love that. Combine it with a nice reverb. We change up the saturation a little bit. Take the spin and the shape stereo down just to hear the difference there. One of the cool things you can do with this is that you can send MIDI to the Nightverb, and of course that means that you can use something like the Hydrosynth or whatever to send, if you have, you know, the ability to send MIDI LFOs and MIDI envelopes and that sort of thing. You can send that stuff out, and macros, of course, to all the parameters inside the Nightverb. But you can also play notes to it. So it can be really interesting where you're essentially you're changing, I believe it's the size with your key scaling, so that you can kind of play it up and down and kind of pitch shift it in a way. It's pretty cool. One thing that I'm hoping can be done is to have the I really want the notes to be separate from the CC, as far as like if I want to turn the notes off, then I can just control it from CCs, and then you know, not have my notes affected, or vice versa, where maybe I want my notes to affect it, but I don't want to be sending my parameter changes to it. So let me just I'll give an example of that to the Nightverb. Let me see if I can pull up my MIDI routing real quick. Again, I'm just goofing off in the studio tonight because I've been rewiring for like almost 2 weeks now. It's been ridiculous. Like this whole table is new, like where it is. So like I completely redid the whole modular wall. You see the steam pipe back there. I've got like Hydrosynth back there and a bunch of drum machines and stuff. Like all that's been kind of redone, and I'm still kind of working on this side as well to just kind of make my workflow a little bit different for some upcoming things that I want to do. So let me pull up the Mio XL, which is how I have MIDI routed to the Nightverb. I use Mio XL for like the front half of my studio, and I use MRCC for the back half of the studio. Yeah, so it looks like there's an update for Mio XL. I will do that later, though. Let's go to Hydrosynth, and we will send that out to, where is that going? Did I name it? Who knows? Yeah, so we should... Oh, and I have it on MIDI channel too, so I have to change it. Actually, let me change it in here. So, let me see what I'm showing you guys so that maybe I can learn you something. Okay, so on the Nightverb, let me move this mic a little bit. On the Nightverb, when you hit back, you can go into your kind of system settings and your patch settings and all that good stuff, right? So if you want to mess with MIDI, and playing things around, you can go into the MIDI menu. Right now I have it on channel 2 just because channel 2 is kind of unused, and I didn't want my notes to be affecting this, and I didn't want to always have to unplug this and, you know, whatever. So anyway, I'm turning that on to 1, right? You can have MIDI out, and what's cool is directly in here it tells you what the hard mapped MIDI CCs are, but you can also change them. Like if you need to change that, you can. Let's see. Looks like none of the ones that I'm gonna send I think are gonna send, so that's good. Yeah, we should be good on that, and I can set that up later how I want, but now I should be able to. Yeah. So now if you listen to the reverb here, I'm gonna turn this like way up. Up now. We'll go full wet. All right. Another cool thing about this is when I go into these settings here, you can go to effect and you can turn dirty mode on, right? So dirty mode, kind of like it's like aliasing and whatnot, but there's a little bit more to it than that. It just, you can hear it. It's, I don't know what it is, but it just sounds cool. Hear how like grainy and sizzly that is, and you can hear the pitching happening. Just as a test, I'm going to try something here. So I'm going to turn the volume on the synth down. I'm going to send the modular drums through it, and then I'm going to play the reverb notes, right? If you track what I'm throwing at you, right? So we're not going to be hearing this. We're going to hear the modular drums, but the Hydrosynth is going to be pitching this thing all over the place and acting goofy. And again, the modular is just some analog modular drums and whatnot, basic pattern. And then ER301 is just kind of freaking out a sample that I threw in there. It's just a speech sample, but so let me send that over. Yeah, so you can hear it already, right? Let's take this back. Let's play with that. See what we can do. In a way, you could do some interesting stuff with that, where if you sequence it out, you could sequence the pitch. You could sequence like the pitch of a sequence to kind of follow like where the kick is and where the snare is, so that you're accentuating the tails on those particular, you know, hits on the grid. Hear what sounds on some other presets. That's pretty cool. This is just a nice reverb that I did that's really kind of just for a snare. But if you listen to it, I'll kick it up. So if we were to play that. Anyway, that's kind of neat. So then if I wanted, let's combine it with the Omega 8, right? So now I'm going to be playing the notes of the Nightverb, you know, along with the Omega 8, and it's like, it'd be nice to see how it kind of tracks with it. Ooh. Let me move this thing out of the way. Yeah, so anyway, I think that serves its purpose so that I can check to see whether or not my audio is working and whatnot. And I'll probably do a video on this stuff later, something actually edited and nice or something if I get time. But I just wanted to goof off, so thank you for indulging me.